killing newborn girls was seen as a sign of manhood. If a father received the news that God had given him a daughter, that would be a disgrace to them. And it would be expected from them to go and bury that newborn baby alive. Sacrificing people for the idols is common. The family structure is destroyed. Oppression is prevalent throughout the globe. Whether you look at the more civilized part of the world at that time, there are two major empires at the time, the Persian Empire and the Roman Empire. And then you have sub-empires, sort of. You have a government in Yemen that is sort of a tangent of the Roman government. And also they were the remnants of a previous government. They had some form of a civilization there. In these parts of the world, the way oppression was prevalent at that time in Persia, there's a reason why. A lot of people may not be very familiar with this part of history. When the Muslims attacked the Persians after the Holy Prophet, as part of the move towards expansion, which the Holy Prophet had started, and we'll get to, the Persians, and what I mean by Persia is not current-day Iran only. It included parts of Iraq. It includes much of, if not all of, Afghanistan. It includes even some of the more northern regions. These parts of the world, when the Muslims attacked, the people didn't really have much of a problem accepting Islam. They did not. Maybe an example that we could understand. I don't know how much of a, or how good of an example this is in a sense. When the Americans attacked Iraq to overthrow a government and a governor and a ruler that they themselves had put into power, and they didn't have to actually do this to get rid of him. They had other plans. That's not the point. I don't want to go on a tangent there. I just want to put that in there very briefly. When they went in, the people of Iraq didn't resist. Okay. Not because they loved the Americans, but because they hated Saddam. Now, when it came to the Persians, the situation was slightly different. What they understood of Islam, on one hand, was something, and what they saw even of the Muslim army coming forth, was something that was seen as a good traits were seen by the Persians. But also they were sick and tired of the oppression that they were going through during the time of the last dynasty of kings before the Muslims came in. There was oppression. There's a reason why they didn't resist. Some of the armies were forced, but the people didn't resist. They're facing oppression. Plenty of it. The religion that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent to that part of the world was flipped. And based on an incorrect explanation of that religion, Zoroastrianism, people were being oppressed. In Rome, you have oppression. I think I don't need to explain that too much. When you read the history, or even the movies that have been made, there's plenty of oppression that is happening in the Roman Empire. When you look at the non-civilized world, it's even worse. I just described some of it amongst the Arabs. This is a terrible state that the entire globe is in. Alright? When we compare what is happening today with all the oppressions that are taking place today, right now in the world, and you compare it to that time, it is clearly the case that there was more oppression at that time compared to today. There's a reason why I'm saying this. It's a very important reason why I'm saying it. At that time, if the people in Persia, as we just mentioned, they felt oppressed, they didn't even realize and understand that they can come together and voice their opinion, and they have a right that they can come out and speak against the government. They didn't even understand that. The understanding that God has given power to the masses, to the people, the concept that is currently referred to as democracy, which has today become something which is considered sacred by all people. Democracy is something that everybody's talking about now. Okay? Although there's a lot of phony democracies out there. But the idea of there being a democracy and that that form of government is what we're looking for is something that the entire globe has come to an understanding. One of the ulama has put this very nicely. He says, the concept of democracy has come to prevail over the face of the globe due to the teachings of not just any prophet, but our beloved prophet, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. I don't have time to explain this idea, how the real and the true democracy is Islamic government, which we tried to a certain extent, explain when we did have that course right here in London a couple of years back. But the idea that democracy has become the way to go. It wasn't like this all the time. A few centuries ago, it wasn't like that. In fact, maybe 100 years ago, it wasn't like that. There's been a move. The concept of justice. The whole globe is chanting that there needs to be justice. Even non-Muslims on the streets of London are saying we need justice. All over the globe, everybody's chanting justice. And they can't really shut it up. Okay? They can't. This is progress. At that time, they were scratching their heads. They didn't really understand what justice is. Okay? This was not something that the masses had reached the maturity to understand. That's how dark it was this time. When they say Jahiliyyah, ignorance, it was truly the age of ignorance. And we have moved away from it. Yes, there is modern ignorance. That's a different discussion. The way they used to kill those daughters when they were newborns, now we have modern jihala where they kill them before they're even born. And they say that that's okay. The mother has a choice. Yes, we have that to a certain extent. But compared to the past and to history, we are in a much better circumstance.